Products are made in a factory, brands are built in a consumer's mind. What I did one was, I supported the underdog. You always make higher margins selling the underdog products. You never make money selling products of a well-established brand because the underdog wants the max. So as a nature, I've always loved to back on underdog. As individuals, we've seen so much of failures. Being an entrepreneur, I've realized that one, you're going to embarrass yourself and be ready, it's going to happen. Stages, we don't know when it will happen. Consumers will pay the maximum for you here on the hair. Then your real estate value slightly drops down, which is skin. After that, it's a dramatical drop down. Nobody cares. You care about your foot? I never did a foot cream. Our category is filled with BOGOs. That's something which over the last 6, you know what's BOGO, right? Buy one, get one free. These are slow poison.
Today we have Manish Chowdhary, the co-founder of Wow Skincare, a brand that has redefined beauty and wellness. He's also the co-judge of a very famous Amazon Prime show called Mission StartAb. Let's welcome Manish with a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Manish, we all know you as founder of this great company, and you've been an entrepreneur for 2 decades now. We want to know the person behind the screen, right? So tell us about your journey, how you ended up starting Wow, and from your college days to being this successful founder.
So I'm an entrepreneur since the last 27 years. I think I calculated it right. And why I say 27 is I was in Dhanda at the age of 19, right? As much as what you guys, your age might be. I went to a college which was at 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Sheshadripuram College in Bangalore. Come from a middle class family. Not great at studies at all. I hated to study. But I wanted to be in the real world of making money because I've seen struggle happening at home. Father's business doing well. Saw lots of ups and downs. My mother being a great entrepreneur, right? She's a serial entrepreneur. She did everything possible to make things happen. So we saw that as young kids at home. And you know what we said, we want to change or give it our best shot. How can we change the trajectory of the family? So I won't say I was forced to go to an early morning college. But I said, you know what, let me go to a college where 7 to 11, one is to go and have fun. I used to go and watch even those days I didn't like watching, going to college. I remember going for first day, first show, which in Bangalore used to be at 8:30 in the morning, right? So, Swati, sorry, I'm going to spoil the kids here today, but I'm just going to tell them my story. So, I was like, I hated going to college too, but I had great friends where we used to stand outside the college and have great time. There's a joke where attendance used to be 75 to get a hall ticket. I don't know, those days were hall tickets. And I had 20%. And the guy with 65% didn't get his hall ticket. So that guy hated me right till all the union reunions we meet. So I hustled my way with the HODs. But it was a 7 to 11, 11:45 I used to get to my store. Parents made 2 assets of having a retail store in Bangalore, which was Manipal Center, right in center of Bangalore. We had the store, but we didn't have an idea what to do. So my mom ran a restaurant. We tried doing a cyber cafe. Those days, there was a cyber cafe concept. I used to go to BSNL with a demand draft for renewing the internet, right? Those days, you wouldn't have seen, nowadays we do everything through Paytm, but those days I had to stand in a line to pay that to run a cyber cafe. And we used to charge by the hour. So that was my life. But it taught me a lot, right? Go to college, try your best to study there, come back and do something on entrepreneurship because I wanted to change the trajectory of the family. So got into doing that. Was really excited just about when I was graduating that when am I going to stop going to college and get into business. So I was always in that cycle kab hone wala hai. So my first journey as an entrepreneur was retailing. And big learning for me. So whatever I do, I'm a super competitive guy, right? I like to be number one or I completely get distracted and I kind of say I don't want to do it. I ran a retail store for Acer. I don't know whether you guys know what is Acer computer. So they just about launched in India And they came to me because I was a computer assembler those days, saying that, hey, can you sell our branded products? And I remember that was the first time laptops were sold for under 30,000 bucks. Those days laptops were 1 lakh plus. So these guys completely disrupted the market. Ran that decently well. But I should tell you one thing, and if at all you guys all ever think, we need money from parents, we need money from external help. I had a store, decently done store, bare shell with shelves. It was a computer shop, so I had to have merchandise there. Like how you guys have Nehru Market here, in Bangalore, it's SP Road. I made friends with some of the shopkeepers there that whatever boxes you remain from customers who don't take it, I would go at night. I used to have a Kinetic Honda those days, get those box, decorate my whole shop with empty boxes. So the customer, when he walked in, thought it's a shop filled with latest stuff. And I used to take orders from anybody who used to come, and I used to have a runner boy used to run and get me whatever I wanted. What you call now is GIT, right? Just in time. You guys would have learned that. So I was just doing GIT those days, which was a model I learned without capital. My parents only said, you know what, I'm going to give you a shop. I don't have a working capital for you. You'll have to manage from wherever to. So I remember 30,000 bucks they gave me to get started. That business, I grew it to 40 crores in 8 years, which is one of the largest retailers across the country. What I did was I supported the underdog. You always make higher margins selling the underdog products. You'll never make money selling products of a well-established brand because the underdog wants the max. So as a nature, I've always loved to back on underdogs as well as brands which are underdogs. 2009, 2010 was a time when Flipkarts of the world, Tata Chromas of the world just about came in. I was young that time. I was 28, 29. Thought, you know what, I built such a good customer base. I took my customers for granted, saying that वापस मेरे पास ही आएंगे. But the disruption happened so fast that the mom and pop stores just were so much in stress because I was at MG Road and Chroma was around 600 meters from me. So they used to come here and see because I had the full range. They came and saw all products from me and they used to go and buy it at Chroma because Chroma was looking at that time establishing their customer base.
So they were
disrupting. They were discounting heavy. For a couple of years, I saw this pressure in the business. It was not the best. Eventually, I went bust in 2010-11 with close to 6.5, 7 crores of debt. When I say debt, I had to pay suppliers and I had bank leverage, which was crazy, right? I borrowed and borrowed and borrowed to keep the show going, waiting for a better day to happen. So I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Instagram. I have a story where a lot of people have commented about my on my failure in my business, and where I said I sat at home for a year to know what I would do next. Within me, I always thought, I will make a comeback. The question is what I would do and when I would do. One thing what I promised after this shutdown of the business was that, one, I'm not going to be selling for any brand. If anything I do, I'm going to have my own brand. Because the main malai is having your own brand because you got your margins, you got your value creation at the end of the day. Do remember that the day when I was selling Acer product, the valuations were sitting at Acer's end, whereas I was happy retailing it. But that's where value creation was. So I made a promise I will never resell ever. I will only sell products which are high margin products. So that is something मैंने गीता की कसम खाया था कि I will make a trajectory change in life. That's the only way I will do it. And I sat at home for a year just thinking about what's the best next thing. Because, most of us, and I can bet you guys, we will all come across one stage is what will I do? And whenever you say, you will do something, that trigger of saying, so many times I've thought about ideas, I've slept over it and I've got up next morning so confident saying that I will do it. But there's something which pushes me back not to do it, right? So the trigger is so tough. So I sat at home really for a year to really it's a joke that why did you sit at home with so much of debt for a year? Because it's easy for someone to come back and say, you know what, I want to do the next best thing, but I don't have an idea what to do. Karan, who's my younger brother, was also affected because we both were partners. That got him to go into a job. So we left our egos. We said we'll go till the time we need to run our families. We'll go and do small jobs. So both of us went and did a small job. That's when we got connected with Karan's two other friends. If you would have seen our history, we had Arvind and Ashwin, who were also co-partners with us in our journey. So it was a pair of two brothers like my younger brother and Arvind's younger brother were taking care of their elder brothers because we all were so displaced. Ashwin had just come back from the US. 50% plus commerce in health and beauty was happening online. And that was something amazing, right? Health and beauty is so important in today's lives, where consumers, at least in India, was 99% happening offline, as well as happening through either BAs or doctor route. We thought about, it's going to be great that consumers can buy health and beauty products online, and that's when the idea came about. Let's try something in the health and beauty space, and that's when we started the concept of Wow. Right? A lot of people ask me, how did you guys get the name Wow? Because every chat we used to have, and those days Saif Ali Khan was so popular, where he kept saying wow, wow, wow. So everything, whenever we used to respond back on our chats, used to be with ending with a wow, and I said let's figure it with wow. That's when we started Wow. But to be honest, though we are 10 years, we just celebrated our 10 years existence a couple of weeks back. But I would say it was around 5.5, 6 years that we became a company. Any stage for the first, at least at our stage, the first few years was only to understand how to become a company. We were not a brand. So most of us will go through that phase to, hum log sochte ki, we have made it. It's a company, it's a brand in the initial times. No, it was not, because that's so much of pivoting you need to do when you get started. So many changes, how adaptable you were. So I would say, though we are celebrating 10 years, but the company is 5 to 6 years that you can call it as a brand or you can call it as a company. But that was our stage from where we got started from.
No, great journey, Manish. And I have this question for you, which is a little bit out of the track, which is on your Amazon Prime show. Why did you choose to do it, and how did the opportunity come along to you?
Yeah, so as an individual, I love to do things which are different. Aman of Boat is a very close friend of mine, right? So every year he used to say, yeah, you should, let's try to get you in. And you know what? I kind of said, and Amazon was also, let's be honest, all platforms will have their business show today. I think entrepreneurship is on a rise.
Yeah.
I never understood what is valuation just about till 10 years back. I didn't know where is valuation. Today, even my 9-year-old boy knows what is valuation, where's value creation. So I think everybody wants to do dhanda. And obviously, Aman's one of my biggest inspiration from where it is. It's done phenomenally well for Boat also, because to remember, we are now in a stage where, let's be honest, I have taken the best of celebrities to endorse the brand. But today you're looking at founders becoming their own brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
One is today's age where consumers want to know who's the person behind you.
What's the story?
Behind the brand, which is so important. And second is you're humanizing the brand, right? There is a reason, there's a purpose of somebody who's standing behind. So, there's something where I within keep saying that, this year I'm going to be the brand ambassador of Wow as a change, because we have tried many over time, but at my end, one is, at a stage where we are always to give back, whether you're doing well or not. There's so much of learnings for us as individuals. We've seen so much of failures. Being an entrepreneur, I've realized that one, you're going to embarrass yourself and be ready. It's going to happen. Stages, we don't know when it will happen. And second is, you must see, ghise wo log, I keep saying, struggling is so important. As an entrepreneur, we've struggled so much that you want to share your story so that people can learn from your mistakes. And I thought, the best thing was when I think Mission StartAb concept was told to us a year before. I don't know how many of you guys watched it, but it's a tough one to crack. You've got 10 founders. You've got 3 investor. I went as a founder investor. I didn't go like an investor. And I had to go to Endemol and tell them, hey guys, we are not actors. We are founders.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to come up and show up on a set. So one was, I was excited. In life, I never want to regret not doing something. If you ask me honestly, 2 years or 3 years back, I would be shy and I would be nervous sitting here today, right? But I said, when will we do it? When will we improve as an individual? I thought Mission Startup would be a great opportunity for me. And that's where it happened.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about how much fun you had on the show?
I think I had the best 35 days of my life.
So you were completely there for 35
No,
days?
so I kept flying in and out.
Okay.
It was shot in Mumbai, but those founders were 35 days in Bombay. They couldn't go back home. I think they had one break. It was amazing. Like I had my own vanity van. I've always seen stars have one, and I used to wonder what it used to look inside. We got vanity van with 2 toilets. I said, amazing. This is like completely crazy. Why would I need two? You would have people with walkie-talkie within the set saying Manish walking out 1, 2, 3, and it was an amazing feeling, right? I mean, we all see so much of struggle and so much of stress we live as founders. That
Yeah.
I thought, it's a good time to go and have fun. But I think I came back. I can be honest, it was an amazing opportunity. I have a story. So Wow was born on Amazon 10 years back or 9 years back. And going back on their premium business show, I think if I can do it, I think you guys can crack it faster than I could. So anything can be possible. You guys need to hang in, is what I would say.
Thank you. Now, there are a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience today, and obviously, personal care is an industry we all relate with. We all are customers of it, and it has seen a lot of brands come up in the last 5-6 years, right? Now, can you tell me a little bit about where is India's D2C slash personal care brands going to be? How do you see the next 10 years evolving for this industry? And are there still untapped opportunities, or is it too crowded and too late for anybody to enter?
So one, it's a $13 billion industry. So the scope to grow is immense. The bad news is that I'm going to talk about FMCG as total. Has grown slower than the GDP of the country. Like GDP of our country is 7.4%, if I'm not wrong. I think FMCG grew at 2.9%. So that's a staggering.
Yeah, very different.
The staggering part. The good news point of view, it's a very large market. Now you could have two kind of brand building. What you can build here? Either you're an entrepreneur and say, you know what, I don't want to raise money. I want to build something which is good for me to take care of my kharcha pani. I make my 5-10 lakhs a month. Profitable. It's going to be small. Great category to enter because high gross margins. The second part is, if you want to really make it as a large brand, large business, then you got to eat into the larger guys, which is going to cost you a lot of money today than where it used to be. When we started off, that was a time where it was skill based. Unfortunately, today it's more about how much capital you've got. Obviously, product has to be good. You cannot get into this industry because with a very average product, because your repeats are very critical. If your repeats are not good, your P&L won't work. Now, where D2C stands, and let's be honest, from where we started, we were, as an example, as shampoos, we were acquiring consumers as low as $30 those days. It was as good as Facebook giving you ads for free. What is $30? It was as good as free coming in. Today, the cost could be $400, $500. That shows how many people are competing with you. There's a lot of clutter. I wouldn't say, and I don't want to discourage anyone because there's a potential for a lot to create. I think, let's be honest, over the last 3-4 years, looking at the new age brands which I've seen, creativity level is next level, right? We always thought we were always innovative and ahead, but the new generation creating products is amazing what I'm seeing. But what I want to at least tell you guys over what our learnings over the last 2-3 years is, D2C was great to build to a level. You're now going to be plugging in old-fashioned way of marketing, which has to marry between D2C and old age marketing together to make it meaningful, right? So when you had a complete all-in model of a D2C, you're now going to look at doing traditional TV, old marketing style of marketing and getting products. That's going to cost money. But going back again it's a addictive category to be in. It's a high gross margin. You get it right. It's a bit lucrative business. But do remember one thing also, guys, whoever's looking at it, you're fighting brands which have existed for decades or even a century.
Yeah.
What we guys are coming and doing it, we are doing it under 10 years, right? The cost of doing it is expensive. and we have to be realistic from where it goes.
Fair. And I think one thing you said is, you have to deploy capital to build the brand and all of that. But the first thing that anybody needs to do is get the product right.
Correct.
And you yourself were not in this business, right? You were selling computers, electronics. So I know you said you got the opportunity because you connected with people who were working in US, but then how does one go about it? How did you say, hey, here are these manufacturers, these are the ingredients I need to put in my product? Like, how did that happen?
See, now today's world, we are living in a world where contract manufacturing is at, I mean, you guys can get started. Let's be honest, where is all the value creation? It's in your brand. We are not in the business of creating real estate, which is owning a factory. It's the worst investment a brand can make. If you see any of the international brands, even if it's electronics, may it be Apple and Samsung, they don't have the factories. They've got contract manufacturers doing it. So that eases there. Formulation, obviously, those days, we took a lot of, okay, let's be honest, from where we started as Wow, there had to be a reason why Wow should have been there. What was our promise? Gentle care. Gentle care was something new in this country and at an affordable price point. I remember one of the leading brands was selling sulfate-free and paraben-free shampoo at 1,200 bucks.
Yeah.
We got it at 350, right? So you got that. There is a reason when you create a brand. The why is so important. We had a why that, we're going to sell gentle care. Let's be honest, we were the pioneers of doing it. Today, anybody who's building a skincare or hair care brand, a lot of no paraben, no sulfate came from Wow. But it's a hygiene, right?
Yeah.
So we were very obsessed about getting the formulation right. But do remember, no sulfate, no parabens is like having a Coke diet. Any of you guys like the taste of Coke diet? I don't like Coke diet, right? Because it does the job of quenching my satisfaction, but doesn't give me enjoyment. So when we say sulfate-free paraben, we are losing out some of the efficacies for the consumer.
Yeah.
But we're telling them it's good for you. Long term, it's great for you. We've seen so much of baldness over time in young individuals, men and women with bald patches. That's because we've abused ourselves with harsh chemicals over the years when it came. There was an old time, I used to remember when my grandmom used to say, वही product लेके आना, उसका झाग अच्छा है.
Yeah.
Today's consumers say, झाग इतना अच्छा नहीं है because more surfactants in it, it's bad for your scalp. So consumers and a lot of our insights came from the internet. And let's be honest, today you guys have the abundance of the internet where we do something called DTS, which is digital testing. Even if we are thinking about a product, we get it onto the internet, we think what could our CAC be, what would consumers think about us. You don't need the words of having any of the large consultant agencies to come and tell you where you should be. 50,000 to a lakh of rupees of experimental money on YouTube, Facebook can give you so many answers today, which we didn't have those days. So we had to rely a lot of having batches, improve it. Like some consumers would say, dryness was too much. So we would go back and fix dryness.
Yeah.
Wait for another 2-3 months of reviews which came in. I used to wake up every morning with I used to give an instruction to my team that I want to see any of the 2 and 1 star reviews. I'm not interested in the 3, 4, 5. The 1, 2 were the most important. But do remember the 3, 4, 5 are your most loyal consumers, and you should be always looking at what more I can sell to them.
Yeah.
But the 1, 2 are the ones where you need to concentrate a lot. But I've seen over time new age brands, some of them even during our time, they never took reviews well. They were very defensive about taking a review. And as entrepreneurs, you must take criticism and feedback with a smile. I know sometimes it's so harsh to hear it. Because, we as founders think, our best product hai. We take customers for granted. No, they're the ones who are paying your bills. So you must respect them. And that's the only way where we perfected the art of getting things correct. So you learn it. You're in a digital world today.
Yeah.
You guys are short-circuiting so much of what traditional and conventional businesses were built on.
Yeah. But Manish, that has been very surprising to me always. A lot of personal care brands have said that we outsource these formulations and it's so easy. So does that mean that today somebody can very easily copy the Wow formula and try and create a brand?
Yeah, it is. Let's be honest. There's a whole saying, right? Products are made in a factory, brands are built in a consumer's mind. And that's where it is. It's all about storytelling at the end of the day. Wow was a product company. We are now in a stage of brand building. We are late to the brand building stage, which I wish I would have done earlier. But let's be honest, you got to get a product which works, which consumers like, and have a great marketing. FMCG is all about marketing at the end of the day. So that's your fundamental.
And because it's personal care and it's skin care, even one negative story can bring the brand down, right? So what systems, processes you put in place for your quality checks?
See, I've learned it over time. I can tell you proudly, not even one consumer complaint over the last 10 years we have got legally. Obviously, you will have consumers who will not like your product, right? There's different type of skincare, hair care types. It could work for some people. We saw some of our products doing very well in other states, not doing well in other states. One is because of water, could be weather. It depends. So we learn on that also as technology, what you bring in. But you will get bad reviews. Every brand gets it. It's a question of how well you handle it. We have a SOP where we follow. Obviously, you're a digital brand, so you must have a lot of digital reputation. But as you get popular, the flurry of negatives can come at higher. But obviously, the good ones make do for it. But over time, keep collecting a lot of data of the negative ones coming from where it is and try to address it. Concentrate on the winners, the consumers who love you.
Yeah.
The the ones who don't like you, respect them. We always handle them with care. We try to get a solution out for them. But let's be honest, right? We are an FMCG OTC product. Some consumers might need medication for medical products, right? Normal OTC products might not work for them. So you got to look at one way is you're a digital company, so we have a habit of refunds. Handle it with care.
Yeah.
And then try to do it from there. But it is there. It's a part of life. And that's where it is.
One of the courses that our students are doing is called the pricing strategy. Right now, personal care is a market where you can get a product for 300. You can also get the same product for 1500, 2000, depending on the brand. How do you as a founder decide the pricing of your different products?
Okay, guys, pricing is very important. I can write a thesis about it. I think we have all learnt it, right? Our category is filled with BOGOs. That's something which over the last 6, what's BOGO, right? Buy one, get one free. These are slow poison. This is something which we are looking at correcting at our end. But the competition intensity is so much. If you don't do it, competition does it. But everybody is now understanding what it is. There's something called price elasticity. You guys all know that, right? Today you're living in a digital era where we test even increasing $1, $2, $5. You can do that automatically on your system today. You don't even need a human to intervene in it to get to know what's your velocity on each product. But as a brand, I know we have also discounted ourselves. We've been naughty over the last 12, 18 months. Got to be honest, but you'll see correction happening. It does not give joy at the end of the day. But there have been so many global luxury brands which have gone through the routes of discounting. And today coming back and saying, for last 3-4 decades, we have not discounted. And they've had an immense brand value creation over time. I would say try as less as possible to discount. Yes, we are all in a rat race where we're all looking at capturing maximum market share. But I think fundamental is price elasticity is so important and you guys need to know. And that's why as a brand, when you create it, and I hope you guys will be great brand owners, is how much money can you get more out of your consumer on the experience. That's a challenge what you should be taking at. And also ensuring that it's value for money for the end customer. It should not be a rip-off. You should be well priced, giving them a great experience, and also ensures that, when I buy a brand, I enjoy it. Classic one used to be, example in our time was Fila. When I was a young kid, right? But they discounted so much that I stopped buying that brand.
Because then you don't trust.
Kind of trust is an issue. Plus, you'll always think, it's cheaper than someone else. The quality might be less.
Or it'll be more discounted in the future. So let me wait it out.
I shouldn't be saying that because I have also taken that route. But I can come back and say that pricing is something which is a science at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And I think in today's digital era, you can also, as you said, you can experiment, right? You can try
So
different price points.
I mean, we can automate in the system saying $5 a day or $2 a day. And then after a month, you come back and see where's your best velocity.
Yeah.
And then you will get to know which is the best price point for you to do. So those days we didn't have it, but as technology and tools have come, this is something amazing to experiment.
Awesome. Thanks for that learning, Manish. Now we will move to our audiences. They have great questions. So please let me know if anybody wants to ask a question. Raise your hands.
So I have two questions. The first one being, we talk about a lot of online versus offline these days. I also understand 25% of the revenue that WOW generates is from the offline sales. What is your view on the offline movement of this market? Do you also believe that the next big thing is offline?
So, good question. Everybody asks me when to go offline. If you're asking me that question indirectly, offline is a completely different beast. One of the most expensive channels for us to build, where we are competing with, brands have already created it over decades. So one is online, you don't need to be on a shelf. You have to be really good on your social presence. Offline, you're competing in a limited space with lesser SKUs, with giants who've already built consumer memory around, right? That's one of the most difficult parts. So if you see over the last 2 years, we have tried to do online, offline. We are an online company. This year, what you will see us in next financial year is go more sharper towards online. Offline is something which is over time will only take place. I've seen new age brands just jump into offline. Trust me, that stock will come back to you after 23 months. You're losing confidence with your retailer, distributor. You get one chance with them. One chance. It's an unforgiving channel. Online is an easy way for you guys to get started. Today, for you guys to build a large business in a faster time with lesser capital, online is the way to go. Offline will take its time. It needs feet on street, which is expensive, needs schemes. We're learning it. We will get there. We are determined to do it. But the timing is when to go there is a gray area. I would say is when you're well capitalized. Branding is so important. You need to do so much of SOV on TV. You need to do so many things else. So what worked online doesn't mean it's going to work offline. So keep that in mind.
That answers my second question as well. So that was just basically how do you convince a retailer to give you shelf space where you are competing with a brand such as HUL, which has a shelf space of let's say 18 days of a product. And then
no, but honestly, why a retailer takes us is one, we're giving them larger margins than them. Eventually, we have to look at how do you compress that over time. But remember, when you go offline, you're spoiling your terms already when you get started. So a guy who you're giving him 30% margins versus a 15, are you okay to take less salary when you, if at all, you're not going to do it, right? So this is something what new age will have to figure it out over the long term, because we're giving high margins today. It's going to be something where we'll also learn over time that how do you shrinkanize that? Yeah. And that's going to be a challenge for all. And I have to be honest, it's something which we are all figuring it out. You will not know the bhanda of offline for 3-4 years. You'll feel you're doing well because you're pipeline filling. You're pipeline filling. So we all feel, oh, amazing, we're doing great numbers. The main malai is the offtakes, right? Yeah. And that takes a lot of time. It could take us a decade. So what we did in a decade online, it doesn't mean we'll do that same in offline. But if we get it right, it's one of the most profitable channels to be in.
Yes, go for it.
Thank you so much for making the session, and it was quite an eye-opener. So, sir, today we see most of the startups burning quite heavily when it comes to marketing, and with all this competition, and this seems like a recurring expense for a longer period of time. So, how do WOW plans to tackle it, and when can we see?
So I'll tell you one thing which might inspire all of you. I took capital. My first raise happened when I was at a 200 plus crore brand. It was bootstrap. We knew that why we needed capital is, and don't say marketing is an expense, it's an investment. Please don't use it as an expense. Most of us, even I also used to think about, marketing is an expense. It's wrong. It's an investment. You will not see, the problem is we are all digital brands. We spend on Facebook and Google. We know what we used to do, our balance sheet every day. Like what we spend today, we'll know what's our profit and loss for the night. But when we do marketing on ATL and everything on TV, it's not cheap. And that's an investment. So I know over the last 18, 24 months, we could have done better. But I always count it as an investment. I never count it as an expense. Yes, it hurts your balance sheet. It's not the best when the results don't come. But I will tell you one thing, it's something which if you are ever making a brand, it costs. So the first year is always expensive for you. First 2 years is expensive where you continue spending it. You get leverage after that. Second or third year, you hopefully with that same spend see a much better revenue where a lot of other meters of yours looks better. So, and honestly, I'll tell you one more thing. Startup is burning. Nobody is looking at coming and raising money and burning. It's honestly, it takes time for some companies to get to better paths towards profitability. I built a business which was profitable. I know the joy of going and doing it, but when you want to go to the next step, you need to inject infrastructure. It's a foundation which you're building, and that's where it is. But I can tell you one thing, and honestly, nobody enjoys burning money.
Yeah. So, sir, with the price sensitive customer base like India, largely you see customer loyalty becomes difficult with time. As soon as new brand enters, they start offering different offers like Google and all. So you see companies consistently, even in case of Ola and Google, they are still not able to be profitable in that. So how does a startup, when it comes to startup, how does a founder or a co-founder tackle this issue even in a long period of time?
So let's be honest, we are living in the land of the cheapest Coca-Cola. So it answers you where we are as consumer mindset. Practical point of view is, one is, we are a very value for money. We need value. Otherwise, there are no consumers for you. So let's talk about us, right? The why has to be very strong of why a consumer should buy you. Why am I paying that extra buck? Or why you, as a brand owner, when you will become one tomorrow, is your job is going to see that how do I get the best out of a consumer and also ensure that I give him the best bang for the buck. At our end, and initially for any brand, I can tell you one thing, even if you start a new brand and you're going to do BOGO, you're not going to get any sales. The main thing is building trust. At our end, I did small things when I started. So when I used to acquire a consumer, I used to have a leaflet of my other products which were there also. I told them the reason why to buy it. I spoke about our certifications, what we had. I did smallest thing. I used to have a founder's letter which used to get into every shipment out to a consumer. What we did for the quarter, what do we do next quarter? These are small things which made it big for us. We were the first ones to even bring a QR code. Every bottle, think about what a nightmare it used to be in printing on lakhs of bottles, where we had an individual QR code which was unique to that bottle, just so that a consumer can get to know us better and we got to know them better. So spend a lot more time in the initial time of building trust. See, trust is so important. Even when you're building between friends, when you all come to a campus, is building trust between each other. It's the same way how you're building trust with your customers. Trust is so important. You get that correct, and I can tell you that's the toughest to do. Okay, I'll tell you one more thing which was there. We were doing approximately 4 to 5,000 orders a day. This is 2016-17 on shampoos. Nobody heard about our after-sales service on a shampoo. What we used to give a call to a customer and say, what did you think about it? Customer care happens when you sell a fridge and you sell a refrigerator, right? For a 300 rupees shampoo bottle, we used to give a call to a customer. Smallest thing to a customer has got a big payoff. Later on, once you've established it, then you can optimize everything around. Focus a lot on trust when you get started.
Yes, go ahead.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
So, what do you understand? Like, you have multiple categories. I think you're into skincare, haircare,
And health. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I want to understand which category is the most profitable or like most revenue generating.
I love this. Okay.
Most revenue generating for you. How do you look at expansion from here, and what's your next big milestone from here?
I love this. I'll tell you why now. You'll remember me for this. This is the human body. This is the asset at the end of the day when you're an FMCG marketer, whether you're in skin or hair. Consumers will pay the maximum for you here on the hair. Then your real estate value slightly drops down, which is skin. After that, it's a dramatical drop down. Nobody cares. Do you care about your foot? I never did a foot cream. I never did. Yes, we did nail cream a little bit. Nobody cares about that. This is where the malai is. This is where the malai is. After that, everything is junk. So you'll get to know where the focus for us, where it is, right? So hair, skin, and after that, so here and then after this, real estate value really drops, right? So these are the category where anybody, and trust me, this is what is in skincare, any industry. You should know where the bang of the buck comes from the consumer and then try to go deeper.
I want to understand like what's your next milestone from this? Like, what are you trying to expand like more products in the same categories or geographical expansion and
Okay, so geography point of view, I told you I'm competitive guy. I'll try everything. There's not one thing I will not try. We are the first Indian beauty brand to be in Walmart USA. We are sizable there, right? So an Indian brand going, people thought about WOW as an international brand, not as a Bangalore-based 4 founders running it from there. Nobody thought about it for years. So that is where we are. Again, I'm in one place where less is more. These are the times where less is more. I want to share one small story. I don't know how many of you guys are from Nagpur, but I went to Nagpur a couple of weeks back and I asked my driver, what's a good breakfast to have here? He said, Tari Poha. Right? So I went to Ramji Shamji. I don't know. That's going to be my new reel which will come out. We are standing there. I have a video also from there. So I learned less is more is what. So I asked the guy in the morning, I reached at 8. He says, I have only 3 SKUs. Tari Poha, Lassi and Jalebi. I don't have anything more. And the place is filled with people in the morning. It's like mayhem. Just imagine how it is. Word of mouth, no marketing. Must be 3-4 people who are doing the story. Pyaz ka dabba with chilka. Now with poha, you want onions, no? There's no fun. There's so much of loyalty that the consumers were, or the guys who came there, picked the onion up from the basket, remove the skin, or chopping it themselves and putting in the poha. That was a big lesson for me. Less is more. We are in that place that, we want to extract the maximum out of our base. We want to do everything. This year will be one thing where I will look at doing less is more. I told you, think about my real estate, which is there more, focus on that. Because for us as founders, we can just go helter-skelter. But less is more is a year. And I think looking at where the environment across globally is, today is a time for less is more. Thank you so much.